Good afternoon and welcome to your weekly current affairs program. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria, where we dissect crucial, topical, national issues. On today's program, it will be different. We'll be looking at something that has given cause for concern. It has to do with the security situation in the country, and you wouldn't believe it that so many persons, even in the north, are already calling for a rejig of the security architecture of the country. Some are asking for the removal of the service chiefs. Some are asking for new strategies in the fight against terrorism, insurgency, activities of bandits, and other crimes. My name is Erosa Agmola. I welcome you to this week's edition. I have a panel of very distinguished personalities today. I have with me a former governorship candidate in Edo State governorship election, Bishop Akalame. Nice to have you in the program today.
Good afternoon.
Okay. I have a very seasoned legal practitioner, and of course, a woman that is being admired by the women folk because she exhibits intellectual prowess, which makes the women folk very proud of her because they're asking for more women participation in governance. We have with us today Barrister Boegbe Edogogo. Nice to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We also have on the show today a very well-traveled personality, and of course, President, United in Democracy, a pressure group, and also a political analyst and a communications strategist, Eiga Lua Andrew. Nice to have you on the show today.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Okay, so the topic for discussion, calls for sack of service chiefs, is what we are looking at. Some persons believe that there is need for Mr. President to rejig the security architecture. In other words, there's need to bring in new blood. There's need to bring in persons who are hungry to make a name. So, that's what we're looking at. Don't forget that something tragic happened on Saturday, and that was the killing of over 40 rice farmers in Borno State. The Sultan of Sokoto has also made his comments, and he has described the killings of these farmers, rice farmers, as the worst amongst the gruesome murders committed by Boko Haram. The Pope, head of the Catholic Church worldwide, has condemned the killings of these rice farmers, and of course, other criminal activities of these terrorists. Prominent Nigerians are talking. Former heads of states, former presidents, they are all talking. So, gentlemen, that is the introductory remarks. We'll start with Bishop Akalame. Now, call for sack of service chief. Do you think that is the panacea to solving the security threats or security challenges confronting this country?
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, the issue of insecurity,
yes,
we have always had the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. But because of our nonchalant attitude, we have allowed it to degenerate to the level it is today. It's no longer bearable. For me, the call for the sack of service chiefs have come from different quarters. But from our own position, I don't think it is a solution to this security we're having today in Nigeria.
Okay.
What I advise is that more offices should be created to work in collaboration with the security chiefs in bringing in creativity, bringing in innovation, bringing in a lot of strategies to see how they can curb insecurity in Nigeria. Don't forget, we are not only fighting Boko Haram in Nigeria.
Yeah.
which is terrorism.
Okay.
We are fighting banditry, armed robbery, kidnapping, a whole lot of things we are fighting in the country. But what I will advise is that the country today, the contribution of the security personnel is infinitesimal, just 30%.
Okay.
Their contribution cannot help to curb completely the insecurity we have today in the country.
How do you mean?
I'm coming.
Okay.
70%, 30% they can do. The government is doing enough already, making money available, but they are not doing too much. Why did I say so? You cannot continue to meet up with the welfare of our security personnel, and you are not making provision for ammunition for them to function. I have seen when members of the House of Rep have canvassed that the military are not taking the battle to the base of the terrorists. They assume defensive position. The question is this: how will a man that do not have ammunition taking a battle to the base of these people who have reset ammunition? You have driven around Benin.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen a military personnel holding new AK-47, no helmets, no bulletproof vehicle for them to operate? And do not forget, they are human beings. They have families. So you cannot just ask a man to go and die when you have not provided ammunition. It is true that billions of money naira have been budgeted for security, but the Senate have always said, I want to quote Alu Dome, who said, they have made a recommendation to Mr. President severally, and at today, this recommendation have not been implemented. So what I am saying here is that if they sack the security chiefs, it will not solve the problem, but rather it will increase it. So let us create other offices that work hand in hands. Because what we see, look at this. An American was kidnapped in Nigeria. The American troop came into this country and rescued him. Creativity, innovation, strategies. That is what our men lacks. So by the time you create those offices to work hand in hand with security chiefs, then we can achieve our objective. Now, the 70% we're talking about, yes, go to what is called parental factors.
Okay, that's the family setting up.
Yes, then we go to what is called the PS reflex.
Okay.
Go to the economy. You see that now?
Yeah.
Then now goes to the quest of the weak in society. Because the only thing they know how to do is that when they say that those who are weak, who cannot do anything about governance, the only thing they feel they can do is to destabilize the government. And how do they do that? It's through terrorism. So if we equip the security agency to fight, what about those parents who just give birth to children and leave them by themselves to grow up? My brother was in Lagos last week. Look at my face. I was robbed. I was wounded. I always saw myself. I woke up in the hospital. That is the country we are today. That we know where is safe. If you are driving, you are looking at your back. We are suspecting ourselves. As we speak right now, a lot of people have been kidnapped or now children. As we are talking now, not even tomorrow. No. The road is blocked by kidnappers. They're just there. Kidnapping, full vehicle, loss everywhere. This Christmas season. We are not safe. So it is not only the security that has to work to do here. How will a man, you know that you don't have good source of income? You born 5 here, you will abandon the woman. You born 5 here, you abandon the one with the children. You born 3 here, you born 6 here, altogether 20 children. Only you don't have money. Then the children will not grow up all by themselves in the society. When they grow up, they don't have education, they don't have skills, they become problem to the society. Do you know what they do to me? What they say, when everybody ran away, they came. So, God, sorry, this is how they do it. We are used to it. When they become hungry, the only way they can have money is when they come out, there are 10 people who are well dressed, depossess them, take what belongs to them to go and feed. We can't continue like this. Parental factor. Then you can bring up your child, will go to a level. By the time you release him or her to the university or polytechnic or college education, he will not meet up with all these children that will not brought us properly. Begin to influence him or her. Before you know it, the child you train up to that level will become something else. You can no longer understand. Today, 15 years old child, what they attain that 15 years, they will not be the one dictating for their parents. control their parents. No moral inculcation. The parents have no control again. That is where we are today. Christmas has come. No source of income. How do we get money? Let's go and stay on Auchi Road. Let's go and look at people who dress very well and dispossess them. That is what we are today. So we are not only fighting terrorism, banditry,
we'll come back to you. You've made some points. Those some of your points we cannot readily substantiate. We know that we have the joint security patrol in parts of the state. We know that they will look at the comments of Bishop Akaleme and probably patrol the Benin Auchi Road and see what they can do. Okay, Barrister Begbedugo, what's your own take on this?
Well, it's a very sad situation.
Okay.
And the challenge of insecurity, it's a fundamental problem presently bedeviling Nigeria as a nation. It has never been this bad. It is continuing at an astronomical scale with devastating consequences on the lives of human beings, on properties, and on the economy. Nigeria has never had it this bad in terms of insecurity. And insecurity presently in Nigeria is taking two clear facets. We have the issue of terrorism, the issue of Boko Haram, and then we have the issue of the general crime resulting from different factors. Hunger, hardship, unemployment has resulted in a plethora of criminal activities in the country. You have kidnappers, you have armed robbers, you have 419, that is advanced fee fraud, which is popularly known as Yahoo boys. And then you have the issue of banditry and terrorism in the north. On the aspect of banditry and terrorism, it has never been this bad. Nigeria has been facing this issue of Boko Haram for over a decade, over 10 years, and it continues to get worse at an astronomical scale. You can imagine what happened over the weekend. Over 40 individuals, farmers, unarmed individuals were slaughtered in their motherland. The primary purpose of any government, I will repeat, is the security of life and property. But it appears now that our present security institutions are tackling this issue with kids' glove, or they lack the capacity, as it were, to effectively handle this situation. That is why the spate of insecurity is taking this dangerous route whereby people are being beheaded, being slaughtered in their own land. And the country, as it were, is not facing war situations. Countries faced with war have not recorded the number of casualties we have recorded. I want to say first and foremost that as a nation, as a government, there are certain fundamental issues that we have failed to address. Sacking the service chiefs will not and cannot cure the current problem of insecurity bedeviling the nation. It is a fundamental problem. The approach at the level now it has spread. I feel with the issue of Boko Haram, it should not be like individuals take your security, take your destinies in your hands, but now in an organized form. We should be looking at civilian joint task force. The hunters, the farmers, give them weapons, give them ammunition. They should be responsible for their own security, because don't forget, our military personnel have been tackling Boko Haram for over a decade. They have lost a plethora of soldiers that may not even be properly accounted for. So in terms of human capacity, we are at a weak point when dealing with these bandits. So we need to seriously, aggressively recruit willing and able-bodied men. They should be given the right training and, of course, the right weapons. It is very sad when we see our military personnel, our police, and all of that with very, very weak forms of weapons of warfare and all of that. And then the bandits are coming fully armed. When you send a soldier not fully kitted, not fully equipped to go and face such deadly set of individuals, it's like sending them to go and meet their ancestors, which I feel the moral justification is not there. And of course, the morale of the military personnel would have been dampened by now. The government needs to go back seriously to the drawing board. Have you asked yourself, when a foreign individual, a US citizen, was kidnapped, it took just about 6 special personnel to rescue that person. And then in Nigeria, For now, it is very difficult to go from Benin to Abuja or Kaduna to Abuja by road because you are so scared of the inevitable. Military kidnappers, bandits are on the highway kidnapping people, killing people, and how many results have we gotten that, okay, they have caused so and so kidnappers? Yes, I want to say that our military personnel, they are trying. They are doing their best humanly possible. But as it were now, the present tactics they are using is not sufficient. And it cannot adequately tackle the situation. Our present government needs to go back to the drawing board. They need to recruit more staff. Their remunerations, their charges must be seriously increased. Their morals must be boosted. And the government must spend and invest in terms of weapons. Because the situation is like that of a country undergoing war. People are dying on a daily basis. Then you look at the other part of Nigeria, the southern part, the high level of criminality, in a way that we have never experienced before. What are the root causes of these issues? It's not just enough to say police, go to the road, which person wants to die? Everybody values his life. You must look at the root causes. Graduates are being turned over year in, year out, yet there are not adequate employments to adequately cater for these graduates. Overwhelming population of people are out there, they are going to feed, yet cost of living is rising at an astronomical scale. The forces of survival will push certain individuals with weak moral conscience to go into all forms of crime. So until these causes of hunger, unemployment is adequately addressed, the issue of various crimes may not adequately be taken care of. And then, of course, the whole security outfit needs to be overhauled. The government should do more in encouraging them. Then the issue of patriotism. Many Nigerians now, because of the hardship and sufferings over the years, the patriotic spirit to do the right thing at the right time is no longer there. The government needs to go back to the drawing board, put facilities in place, put mechanisms in place to see that our military personnel are well equipped. New individuals, new young able-bodied men are recruited to join the military and the police, and of course they are given enough equipment and machinery to adequately tackle. Then in the issue of terrorism, it has to do with those in the home front. It's those at home that know the forest that these bandits go and hide. They should all be recruited. They should all be encouraged in whatever way to come out and defend their fatherland. It is a sad thing that in a country you are not sure of your security for today and for tomorrow. Nigerians all over are doing everything and anything possible to leave the shores of this country, majorly because of what insecurity and then the endemic hardship. And these are the challenges that our present government owes to Nigerians to what adequately tackle.
Thank you very much. Let's just get the introductory remarks of Andre Aloa on this issue, calls for sack of service chiefs, which we are dissecting.
Well, first and foremost, I want to commiserate with the victims, families of the victims of this massacre that just happened in Borno State. Well, in addition to that, I have to correct the word sack, the phrase there.
Okay.
In public service, sack is at the last resort.
Okay.
To use that language, because if you sack somebody in the public service, he has no benefits. He goes home empty. He has been disgraced out of office. But the situation we have now is a situation of incompetence. Changing the service, such persons should be referred to as people that should honorably resign and pave way for other people to come in. So I feel the right word to be used for these guys is let them honorably resign. Okay, but in this context, it's figurative. People are saying that they need to be removed. Okay. In addition to that, first and foremost, the basic fundamental duty of a responsible government is to protect lives of properties and its citizens, which the present government is losing. Okay. Before now, since 2015, various bodies, civil society groups, the National Assemblies, the State House of Assemblies that have been agitating, clamoring for the sack, or rather, removal of these service chiefs. But the president has been adamant, because he is the person that, that appointed them constitutionally, and he has the right to remove them. If you look carefully, these positions they are holding, if it's an elective position, by now, maybe they must have spent more than 5 years and which any elected position in Nigeria is 4 years, they will go back to their constituency to look for second term. Maybe they might not be voted back. Okay. That is why I employed the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, to please try and listen to the yearnings of the people. Okay. Because he is the person that can tell these people, stay away. And I have studied Africans, critically. It is only in Africa you see leaders that we don't want to leave office until they are forced or disgraced out of office. For God's sake, you are bereft of ideas. You've been handling one position for a very long time. People are saying you should leave. And leaving that position will not stop you from having your benefits. You are going to rest and allow other people to come and try their own ideas. But you are clinging on to power as if it's your birthright. No matter what we try and do, no matter the suggestions, the way the problem is right now, if these people don't leave that position, no matter what they do, Nigeria will still not believe that they are doing the right thing. And let me tell you, if this issue of banditry, kidnapping is not nipped in the bud, it will snowball into something else. Okay. Look at, they are writing 43. Actually, it's almost 70 people, 70% that
well, that's the official figure we have.
That were massacred. Yeah. And these people are farmers. And they produce goods that will feed the nation. Forget that these people are in the north. I will tell you categorically that there's war in Nigeria, especially in the north. But because we are so large, population is so big, we are not noticing it that there's war in Nigeria. For example, now, like what I was reading recently, the farmers, they are scared to go to the farms now because they don't know if they will be attacked. And these are farmers that produce onions, tomatoes, granite, carrot, and what have you. And these are farm produce that they bring to the south for us to consume. With the present situation now, if these farmers are scared to go to the farm, to go and farm, then what will not happen? The few crops you see in town or in the south will be very expensive. You can't afford it anymore because the people that are producing these food crops, they will not be able to go back to the farm to produce crops. And it will be affecting us in the south. Imagine somebody that wants to prepare a small stew for himself and the family. He couldn't buy onions, tomatoes because it's not expensive. You will not resort to drinking only gari. And when you are drinking only gari, you become malnourished. Yes. And when you have a sickness or disease that is attacking, you don't have the nutrients to fight such disease. What happens? We start dying. So I'm calling on the federal government to please look into this case of these service chiefs. They are the pinnacle. They are the people in the helm of affairs. They control everything. The commanders, the supervisors, the brigadiers, they are all under them. It is when you, in the military terms, if you don't give instruction, nobody moves. Yeah. If you give instruction, they move. So these service chiefs, they have to go. They've tried. I'm not saying they've not done well. We've been, most times we listen to the news, Nigeria military, they killed 100 Boko Harams. Nigeria military, they've recovered they've retrieved some states. People they've sent they asked the people in that community to come back home. We see them on TV. They've been doing well. But here in the part of the world, the only thing when you do bad, that's when people will hear your cry that this person has done bad. What of the good things that these people have done? But I'm imploring them that they should honorably just resign, and it will take anything from them and give way for other people with new ideas to come and see what the situation will look like.
Thank you very much. You've brought another dimension to the discussion today. But Bishop Akalame, now, the House of Representatives, you are a politician. The House of Representatives actually comprise representatives of the people. And they've asked Mr. President to address them on the state of, in terms of the security situation of the country. And only yesterday we got the report that President Muhammadu Buhari has agreed in response to the invitation of the House of Representatives that he will address them. I think that's an indication of a very sensitive president who is interested in the welfare of the people. But looking at this issue of service chiefs, why do you think the president has not relieved these service chiefs of their appointments?
You see, there's something I want to let you know.
Yes.
Mr. President have always cared about the welfare of the people.
Okay.
I am not of the opinion that he's just there. He does not care about the welfare of Nigeria. He's an elderly man. He's a father of this country. If people are asking him to fire the service chief, every leader, God has given every leader wisdom to lead the people. You can't just push a leader and say, please do something like this, without thinking, asking God wisdom to operate, then we begin to fire. Like I said, when I started, I said, sacking the service chief is not the solution to the problem of insecurity facing us today as a nation. The young men who are inside the bush fighting were given instruction. The problem we are having is that these guys do not have the ammunitions. But the military has debunked that. Let me tell you something. You see, before you say something, you need to, I say, drive around. Just drive around. We travel a lot now. We see. I say, have you just check. Once you get to a military checkpoint, look at it. Look at their weapon. Just ask if you can see any new AK-47 in their hands. But if your weapons are effective, do you need to change them? Most, if a researcher even revealed that in the 1/4, that these guys, they share weapon. They don't have it. You see, when you budget billions of naira to take care of the welfare of our military personnel without providing those ammunition for them to fight, how do you want them to function? That is the problem. So what I'm now saying is this: sacking the service chief is not the panacea. What we should do, like I told you before, I said, let them create offices. Those new blood you're talking about, put them into this office. What offices are you talking about? Probably you need to enlighten. No. What I'm saying is this. Take for instance, during the SARS protest, the police did not come out again after the SARS protest. Everybody were apprehensive because of what was going on. Especially in Edo State here. No, you can't see police anywhere. Those guys, they just come out, they rob, nobody will ask them questions. When you go to all those states, because they have Amoteco, these guys were working 24 hours. Because the governor discovered that they don't have absolute control over the commission. That even when they give order to the commissioner have to reach out to the IG to validate such order and ratify it before they can carry out such order. Before you know it, 1 or 2 lives must have gone. They have to create another office to complement the office of the police. Okay, I understand. You get what I'm saying? But community policing in Edo State, we saw a report, we watched a report where some constables graduated from Police College, Ogida, in Benin City. Yes, I actually. So, if you are talking about Amotekun, community policing, which has been approved by the federal government, is already effective here. We've seen graduates from the police college in terms of community policing. Now, in Edo State, what you also said, we've seen what the state governor has done. The measures put in place by the state governor. We've seen even local government chairmen. They've complemented the effort of the state governor. We now see even local security people, vigilante, and they've been arresting criminals. We've been seeing results. That's why I always say offices, Amotekun, yes. In Edo we have community policing, we have vigilante. Yes, that's what I'm talking about now. That's what I'm talking about. As we are speaking right now, when I said they blocked the road, the Auchi, Ekpoma and the Auchi road, the security, the vigilante around that area came out this morning to see how they can help. Okay. But we got the information that one or two of the vigilantes has died. So when we are saying that they are doing their job to complement the office of the police, and we are here, I want to use the opportunity to send a message to the Commissioner of Police. Please, you help us this time around to ensure that, in fact, pole-to-pole checkpoint. Pole-to-pole, we need it. Along the Benin from Benin here to Auchi, so that as you are driving, you'll be at home that you are traveling. Because the way it is right now, many people will be afraid to travel. My friend came to Lagos when I returned after this happened to me. He came to visit me here. When he said he wanted to get to Rome, when he was coming, he said, I knew he drove past that former Bomodia farm, that palm trees there. He said a lot of guys came out with gun, they were shooting. They kidnapped one boss who were behind him. So he was just driving. He was just driving. So he didn't know how he got to Benin. We can't continue like this. So when we are talking about the police, let me tell you something. It's not all about buying all this ammunition for police. I told you, I said they can't do much. They can't do much. While we are here, the number of the people we have right now who are involved with this insecurity has at way this our security personnel. In where I fell victim, do you know what I got again? I was told that
Lagos State.
yes, Lagos State, and it's everywhere. I was told that the children, when they do this, they will run into their houses. Where police eventually come, the landlords, who are the parents of the children, will begin to hide them. We say we don't know them, but they know them. You see what I'm talking about? So a lot of factors have to place. All of us. You see, when we see people blaming Mr. President, security agents, I laugh. Who gave birth to the children? We are getting brought from heaven like that without parents. Everybody have to start working now. Talk to your children. Know what they do for a living. Not when you see how a 17 years old boy, you go out there and bring a car for you, say you cut to church, say, Pastor, help me dedicate this car. Thank God, my child, your child has not even graduated. You don't even know what he does for a living. Everybody have to get working. Even the pastors preach morals in the church. The imams, let's start preaching. Let's see how we can have a very good society. Because the way we are having right now, it's as if we are fighting war. The statistics, the figures say that those who died during the Civil War, if you compare the number of those who died during the Nigerian Civil War, is small compared to those who have died. Now, when they kill somebody and they remove the head, they will begin to use to play ball. Life has no meaning again. That is where we are now. Then I have to interview. I have to confront a police officer. Yeah. See what he told me. He said, my brother, I have 3 daughters and 2 boys. Handsome, beautiful. I have a beautiful wife. I don't want to die and leave these people behind. He said, by the time you want to confront these guys, he said the human rights activists, they will come. They say the police have killed somebody. They have killed an innocent person. Before you know, the police is in trouble. Because we are not united on common purpose.
Okay, thank you, Bishop Akalame. That is another call on the civil society to also complement the job of the security agents. I think that's what Bishop Akalame is saying. But we must, at this point, emphasize that the opinions being expressed by my guests are their personal opinion and not that of independent television. Barrister Edo, now, what's the way forward?
Well, it's a sad situation, as I said before, but Nigeria is still a sovereign nation, and being a sovereign nation has the capacity to defend itself from both internal and external aggressions. Okay. In terms of insecurity in the South, I believe the root causes, the pivotal causes of the insecurity, kidnapping, armed robbery, hired assassinations in the South, the root causes is poverty, unemployment, and lack of political will of those in institutions to effect our laws and regulations. If our government can create enough employment for the teeming youth, don't forget Nigeria as a nation has a larger population of youths. And then when the teeming youths are unemployed with all their energies, they will naturally utilize it negatively. Governments, like our present government is doing in Edo State, create more job opportunities, no matter how small, to engage and occupy our teeming youths. Address the issue of poverty, endemic poverty. It's pushing people to their limits. Individuals are now losing their senses of humanity. That's why it's so easy for people to kill fellow human beings. You watch on news, people are being killed, and it's almost like it is the norm. God forbid that it becomes the norm during our time. Our government should do more in sensitizing individuals of the necessity to preserve human life, create employment, tackle poverty. Poverty is ravaging the whole country, and it is also tripled by the effects of these bandits, Fulani herdsmen and farmers. We have demand far outweighing the supply, and is what leading to what an escalating increase in prices of goods and services. And all of this pushes people to fall back into crime just to meet up and survive. If government can address issues of unemployment, poverty and adequately deal with it, to some extent, these crimes in the southern parts of the country would adequately be taken care of. Then in the northern part of the country, it is very sad that as a sovereign nation, our borders are so porous. You have Africans strolling into Nigeria with or without international passport, and you cannot.
But the federal government has closed land borders.
No, but people are still coming in.
Okay.
Our borders
through illegal routes.
Various illegal routes, people are still trooping in, and that is why you see so many strange faces in Nigeria.
Okay.
Most of these criminals, they are coming in from diverse parts of the world. What are we doing to secure our borders? Our borders are not secured. Our immigration services, they need to do more in identifying Nigerian citizens, in proscribing the entry into this country of immigrants illegally. We have so many illegal immigrants in the country, and they have weapons, and they move around. Government should do more in addressing this. And then in addressing the issue of Boko Haram, government should tackle it squarely. They should term this group a terrorist group. They should deal with them as though they are dealing with in a warfare situation, because human lives are being lost. And whether you like it or not, every life should matter. Whether it's the life of a poor person or the life of a rich person, it ought to matter to any government. And our government should therefore tackle this issue of insecurity with that level of seriousness that it deserves, by fully equipping our military personnel, recruiting members from the communities, hunters and all of them, to go into the forest, give them enough weapons to deal ruthlessly with these bandits. And in so doing, some of these challenges of insecurity will be adequately tackled, taken care of. And then when you come to the aspect of the judiciary, even when you now apprehend these offenders, the judicial process is so slow and so complex. At times it leaves a lot of gaps that at the end of the day, criminals go away scot-free just based on how well you can pay a good lawyer. Our regulations, our legal systems should do more in making sure that our present legal institutions is tight enough to adequately apprehend criminals, so that at the end of these days, this clamor to tackle this insecurity situation will eventually see the light.
Thank you very much. Andre Alua, what's the way forward? We've been able to extrail the situation. You have made your own point that it's not this removal of the service chiefs that will, some of our guests rather have said that it's not the removal of the service chiefs that will solve the problem, but Eri Alua believes that the service chiefs must go, and new persons must be allowed to also bring in fresh ideas. You still stand by that point?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the way forward?
Well, the way forward, let me use Edo State as a case study.
Okay.
You know, in the whole of Nigeria, the Edo-lights are the most traveled.
Okay.
If you go around town, an average youth, ask him or her, they must have tested abroad. And either they are brought back, or they couldn't get to their destination, or the recent agitation from the Reverend Obabin that nobody should sponsor anybody abroad anymore. So some of them don't have these alternatives again. That's why we are experiencing what we are experiencing in Edo State. I can remember when they brought some influx of deportees to Nigeria, the Oba of Benin on his own, personally, part of his corporate social responsibility, placed some of them on salaries to be coming there to take stipends to take care of themselves. Let me tell you, an average youth that does not have a job to do, especially the boys, they must feed. And how do you do that? When you don't have education, you don't learn any trade, you don't learn any handwork, you must survive. And the only alternative route was leaving the country through Libya, Morocco, Ghana, what have you. They are all back to the state. That's why we are seeing what we are seeing. The only remedy here is for the government to go back to the drawing board and try and create employment so that these youths can be engaged and be doing something. Without that, there's no headway. You and I know, if I must survive, I must eat as an adult, as a man, I must eat. However, any which way, I must eat. So let me tell you, some of these youths, they are not afraid of police anymore. They even prefer the police to arrest them and take them to the correctional center. At least they will be sure of getting 1 meal a day. That's why they are doing what they are doing. So the government should go back and create jobs now, because traveling abroad is no more an option, because all routes have been blocked, nowhere to go, and no more sponsors to take them away. That's why we are seeing what we are seeing, especially in Edo State. It now behoves on the state government to create jobs. It's not arming the police or the soldier to carry gun to kill yourselves. Does it solve any problem? If you are doing something and I'm doing something, we value lives. I don't want to kill you, you don't want to kill me. But when I don't have to, they said if a big man is crying for justice, a poor man will be saying, let us die. So that is the situation we are now. Yes. So the government should please come in. Now, I know we have a listening governor that people voted for because of his magnanimity and all that. He should try and create employment, especially for the youth, so that they can be engaged. No matter how much they are being paid, 30,000 is something. But when you have zero, and you are from a poor home, your father has no job, he has been sacked, your mother is doing a petty business, and you are a big boy, an adult, must your mother be feeding you? You will take up arms. But if they are engaged, I think they will change and face reality and become somebody.
Thank you. We must also commend President Buhari. We understand that the federal government has increased the social welfare scheme. That's a good one by the federal government. Okay, we'll change it now. We'll come to Barrister Idogogo. Now, you have actually made your points, but looking at the role of religious leaders, traditional rulers, do you think government have harnessed their support enough to tackling insecurity? Because in different communities, we have traditional rulers, we have religious leaders. Some of these persons, they sleep within the community, they reside within the community. So, do you think the government has done enough in terms of collaboration with religious leaders and traditional rulers?
Well, in my humble opinion,
okay,
looking at the scourge of insecurity in Nigeria, I feel the government should do more in synergizing and working with traditional rulers and religious institutions. You know, there was something that happened that marveled me. Some time ago when the Oba was laying courses on those that will sponsor people abroad and all that, the level of compliance, it baffled me. And I said, this man, this traditional ruler plays a pivotal role in decision making in the state. And if government can harness utilizing these traditional rulers and religious bodies in tackling and addressing the issues of insecurity, I believe major changes will take place. Let me tell you, for example, virtually everybody, by nature, human beings are religious by nature. And by nature, they believe they are religious leaders, whether true or false they believe. So when you know that people, no matter what they do, they end up going back to their religious leader, either the traditional worshipper, the churches, the mosque and all that, the government should work in coexistence with these leaders in imbibing the right virtues, in imbibing the right principles, and if possible, in imbibing the right threats. Because I remember then I was amazed when they were saying that some of the things utilized were older than whether a century that were brought out and invoked, and everybody complied. And that was how the issue of everybody's desperation to sponsor someone abroad ended. In the light of the present situation that is causing so much fear, when you are driving, you are afraid, you don't know what's going to happen next. I feel at this time the government should actually call religious institutions, traditional rulers, and they should have a round table talk and come up with serious maps and directions on how to dissect and adequately address insecurity in Nigeria. If our traditional rulers are allowed, given more powers to actually participate in curtailing insecurity, our religious leaders are also given more powers to participate, I believe to a greater extent the issue of insecurity will be dealt with.
Okay, Bishop Akalame.
Yes, the other factor that I have not addressed, let me just do it in this conclusive part. You see, is the issue of the economy. I want to make a passionate appeal to Mr. President, open the borders. Let goods be flowing in, because no country can operate in isolation. We cannot survive in isolation. Those areas we're not good at, when we can't begin to trade, exchange our goods with all those ones, then we cannot live. Today, we said we don't need foreign rice. The one we have here, we can't even afford them. It's not even enough. In those days, when you have money, you look around your community, your environment, you see some jobless young boys. If you have money, you can buy those all those buses that we used to bring in those days. You can buy two, so you take. begin to use the work. By the time they work, there are destinies that are attached to that destiny. He will be feeding mouths. They will be happy. That young man cannot go into robbery or kidnapping. But today, this vehicle, because of the tariff, you can't even buy them anymore. You can't do anything because the border is not open. A lot of things are not coming again. Those guys in Lagos, most of them used to work in the port. In those clearing this thing, they get busy even in the park. So the people are not traveling because you can't afford it. So many things are not just working because of the closure of borders. Things are not coming in. You get right now?
Yeah.
So even so many companies right now, they are not even operating again. They are not functioning. They've closed down because they cannot have access to raw materials they used to get outside the country. So Mr. President should open the borders. So
let's see how the federal government has also made it public that they intend to review.
They should do that.
The decision on the closure.
As a matter of urgency. So you cannot see that this will have effect in curbing security. That's why I told you the security of the contribution of the security is just 30%. The remaining 70% is the factors we have just been discussing, and the economy is one of it.
Okay, yes. Thank you. We'll come back to you. Your closing remarks, Andre Galoa.
Well, my closing remark is this: like he said,
okay,
for any government to thrive, the economy must be balanced.
Okay.
Like what we are experiencing in Nigeria, the inflation is hyper. Like what he said, they closed the borders, but goods are still coming. I was opportune to meet a custom officer. He didn't know I was interviewing him. These foreign rice, they still come into Nigeria. What they do? The custom officers will use their vehicle, go and bring it, take it to town, go and sell in the market at exorbitant prices. And those people will now resell to those people that want to buy. You must eat foreign rice. It becomes higher. So the goods are still coming in. So it is, this closure of border has enriched some certain class of people, and they are now using gyms, building houses everywhere. Whereas the main purpose is not achieved. The poor people are getting poorer, the people are suffering, and the government is not benefiting what they were supposed to benefit. It is the stamp duty, because of the stamp duty they wanted to be getting, that they are not even getting. The goods are still coming in. So, like he said, they should open the borders. The approach of closing the border has not really, helped the citizens, helped the country.
Thank you very much. Your closing remark, Barrister Dogogo. Your closing remarks.
Well, at the end of the day, God will help Nigeria as a nation, and the labors of our heroes past will not be in vain. God helping us, our leaders, our religious leaders, our political leaders should put in more effort in tackling the issues of insecurity in Nigeria. In fact, most importantly, they should try to address the issue of poverty and economic depression in the country.
Okay, thank you very much. Bishop Akalame, thank you. A quick one.
Thank you very much.
Say quick one?
Yes, the issue is that we have to know that we don't have any other country.
Okay.
Nigeria is our country. So whatever you are doing, do it and be patriotic. And if you are patriotic, you should not take arms, you want to kill your fellow human being. If you are patriotic, you will not steal for your neighbor. We will work together. If you have a problem, talk to your neighbor. If you don't have food to eat, talk to your neighbor instead of stealing from him. I think if we do this, we will live in harmony.
Thank you very much. Well, I want to thank my guest again. Your comments have been very wonderful. And my viewer out there, I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. We have been looking at the topic called for sack of service chiefs. That has been our discussion. We've dissected it. And I hope that the relevant authorities, security agencies, they've gained ideas from today's discussion, because we need collective effort to actually tackle insecurity in the country. My name is Egosa Agbolao. Do have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.